thank you very much for coming. I had a similar experience that Hazel did. I think it was 2009 as well, with a police officer. I didn't get arrested, but I was just driving home from picking up my kids from school, and a police car came driving the opposite way and stopped, asked me to stop, so I did. I rolled down my window, and he just told me, "Are you aware, ma'am, that that scarf you're wearing is an obstruction of your peripheral vision? And you must take it off." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just stopped a woman earlier today for that same reason." Pulled up his window and kept driving. I was shaken. And maybe had that same awakening moment, born in Canada, wore my scarf later on in my late teens. I was Canadian. I didn't think, I was shocked. And I had a teenage girl next to me, my neighbor, young Muslim girl, and she's like, "That's racist? And what are we going to do about it?" And we have, how come he did that? I said, "Okay, calm down, give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there's a law that changed. We didn't know about it. What's going on? Let's figure this out." I said, "Is he stopping guns? Is he stopping all the people with those big sunglasses with the big borders? Let's figure this out." So I came home shaken, but trying to show this with some courage and talk to my husband. And thankfully, we are involved in our community, in the Muslim community. The police chief at that time was coming to some of our events, not like the police chief that just left us. And we wrote to him right away that evening. He said, "You were writing him an email, and the mayor, and this and that." Now, I wasn't arrested. I was able to do those things right away. As a result, one of the educational police officers, I forget what they're called, asked me to come to the police college and give sessions, about Muslim and women in Islam and so on, because there hadn't been a law change, obviously. I got a formal apology from the police chief and so on. And because we spoke out and it sort of went out in the community, we found out there were 3 other Muslim women in my own community who hadn't spoken out, who were actually pulled over, their licenses taken and whatnot, not given tickets, but intimidated, and felt like they weren't. So just by talking about it, and there's still a lot of more work to do. And one question I have for you, because there's so many human rights activities to be involved in so many different issues. And I sign petitions and I forward emails, but I want to do more. And I don't know, you've already given some explanation to Hazel and to us, but sometimes you just want to go further, and I feel like, okay, your voice is stronger and we can support you and those like you because you have sort of a presence, but can we do more? Is there something else, just to bring me a step further?
Absolutely, you can answer that. What she said was run for office. That's exactly what we need. And so, I left the Democratic Party in the United States when I realized that the Democrats were just as good at creating and fighting wars as the Republicans were. And I don't want to be a part of a country that's responsible for crimes against humanity, torture, and all of that. I want my country to represent peace around the world. And I know that I can't do that if the political party that I support is a war party. So I joined the Green Party. Now you all have a Green Party here. And you just elected not too long ago your first Green in the Parliament. So you can exercise your rights, whether it's the Conservative Party for strategic reasons, or the Liberal Party, or the New Left Party, or the Green Party, or whatever the other parties are that you have here. But running for office is never a bad thing. And you get to interact with so many people, and they learn from you, you learn from them. And just by being out there, you show the kind of leadership that other women, you discovered that there were other women who were similarly situated, but they didn't speak up. And so now you can be a voice for them, and you can be a voice for the rest of us who don't want women who wear the hijab to be discriminated against or targeted in any kind of way.
Thank you. There's a gentleman.
Have somebody. Am I next? Okay. My name is Sylvain. Thank you for coming.
What's your name?
Sylvain.
Sylvain.
Yeah, it's French.
Okay.
My mother calls me Sultan.
Okay.
I'm reacting to what the lady with the issue of peripheral vision. I suggest that the issue of prejudice in this country and racism starts at the top, at the highest level of this country. Last year there was an interview with Prime Minister Harper, and he was asked a question by Mainbridge, maybe some of you have seen it. He was asked, what is the main cause of the problems of the world, the wars and terrorism? He answered one word. I don't know if anyone knows it. He said Islamicism. Yeah, that's the very word he used. He created that word. It sounds like fascism, like Satanism. It's an evil word, Islamicism. Now, I have friends in Indonesia. By the way, President Obama often says he still has some family roots. And it's the biggest Muslim nation in the world, Indonesia. Okay? They asked me the question, why is it that the Western world always attacks Muslim countries? Now, my question to you is this, because, okay, and by the way, if it starts from the top, it trickles down. Not to everybody. I'm not an absolute, I don't want to be prejudiced myself, okay? But the mainstream media, definitely so, okay? People like us don't have a voice. I created an event once. I invited Arun Gandhi, the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, 5 high commissioners and ambassadors. I thought for sure the mainstream media would come. I was phoned by the editor-in-chief of the place on George Street. He warned me, he put me on a blacklist. He says, I don't want you ever contacting my journalists again. I said, they're the ones who contacted me. They want to come to the event. He said, they're not going. And that's fine. My question is, how can we have a voice? I tried, it didn't work. How can the mainstream won't talk to us, won't listen to us, even if we represent the majority feeling? So where is that voice?
And I do believe that we do represent the majority feeling. And that's why they have to work so hard at a blackout, because they don't want us to realize that we, the good people, the people who really love other parts of humanity, are the majority. But do we have, I know we have media in the room tonight. So why don't we let the media people announce themselves?
I'm actually not here representing the media, but I'm with community media like Jean-Marie Vianney, who's one of the organizers. And I'm also someone who tries very hard in my own Black community in Ottawa, Gatineau, to educate our community on the importance of speaking up, especially when it comes to our public broadcaster, because here in Canada, our public broadcaster, it's not relegated to the fringes like PBS. I like PBS a lot. It's not. Our public broadcaster has a mandate to reflect Canada in all its diversity, to reflect Canada back to Canadians from coast to coast, which it doesn't do. And the gentleman who said you don't have a voice, that's not true. Your taxes should be talking. You pay for that, whether it's Radio-Canada or CBC, or if you're in Quebec, Quebec, or whatever the other public broadcasters are. The minute there's a coin of your tax dollar going into funding all of the activities, you have a say. And the issue is not that people don't speak up, it's that people don't speak up together. So for example, in the Black community, I actually, on my radio show on Saturday, Rachel came on this community, very popular Black community talk show, to talk about how she denounced the use of blackface at the Ottawa Fashion Week. Imagine that. In 2012. Blackface. In Ottawa, Canada, where we're supposed to be more advanced than those Americans across the border. Because we know that no. And this is a young person on top of it who has access to internet and tweeting and Facebook and who knows about Spike Lee and probably knows about the film Bamboozled, etc. So she decided not to just sit down and take it. She took it out there and people responded. And she got a response. The thing is, you shouldn't give up just because the usual suspects aren't coming, okay? Again, remember who runs these organizations. There are special interests that do run them, especially in the private sector. The private sector is kind of a waste of time because they have their, no it is. I mean, are you going to go to Sun TV to cover, an anti-war event? No, I don't think so. Not in this day and age because you know where they stand, you know what their ideological position is. So don't waste time with those people. You have to find other ways. Alternative media is an excellent avenue. Just because CBC and CTV did not show up to your event doesn't make your event less meaningful. Use social media, use technology. If there's a way to webcast what's going on, because increasingly that's what we're seeing, that a lot of events like this that are not getting the, as what's her name says, the governor from Alaska, mainstream media. Yeah, right. Go around them. Forget about them. They can't be there mediating, your attempts at educating a wider audience. There are ways to get around it. But in Canada, especially, our Muslim brothers and sisters, and by the way, one of my heroes is Munya Mazik, Maher Aram's wife. That lady, if you're looking for the next step, you want to go talk to her. Because that lady has taken it to the next level, the next level, and the next level. From getting the media to pay attention to her husband's situation, to getting out there, running for office herself in a predominantly Muslim riding, not getting voted in, and then continuing to rally to other causes that have to do with peace, justice, human rights, etc. We'll talk to her. But like I've been trying to say, our public media, and we know we're taxed to death in Canada, okay? Make your taxes work for you. Institutions like the CBC have, they have a mandate, there's policies, they're supposed to have a code of ethics, etc., and, they need to really explain to you, well, my tax dollars are used to cover a whole bunch of other things that are not necessarily important to this community, especially when it's local CBC. If you can make your case, I'm pretty sure that somehow you'll find somebody in there. The minute you start talking about it's my tax dollars, and as a taxpayer I demand that, yeah, speak up and you'd be surprised at what will happen.
Idea, which brings to mind something that we do. My small organization in the States, we've used the websites of the special interest press, and we post on those websites. So that's another way that we can use what they got, their audience, to publicize our message. And the other thing that we have C-SPAN, and I encourage people to make a phone call. Just call in, and you'd be surprised at the number of people who feel like you, but who don't take the extra step to make that call or do that posting. So there is something that can be done. Don't give up, because if you give up, then nothing will change. And we have one more member of the press who's here, so I'll give you a chance to speak.
Sarah. I work for La Bretonne. It's the French newspaper here in Ottawa. It's the student newspaper. So sorry for my English events. I don't think I'm the best person to talk about this because I'm just a journalist, part-time journalist. And what I learned in the past year working as a journalist for the student newspaper is that you don't work on your personal interest. You work on what your editor thinks is the public interest. So, yeah, I really don't think I'm the best person to talk about this.
Yeah, but that's a subjective judgment that your editor makes.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess it would be subjective. Like, today we're here because we got a student who spoke up and asked us to be here. Thank you, Paige. So, it's just we take demands from like the students what they would like to hear about, what are their interests, and we try to work on different topics and trying to reach every single student. The thing is, it's really, really hard to work on very small topics because it's going to interest a small amount of students in the school. So we try to work like on larger topics, something that is broader that interests like the entire student population. So,
What are considered small topics?
it would be something that interests smaller communities. It sounds racist and kind of like categorizing different communities, but
maybe I can speak on that quickly. I have a little bit of experience that I've gained in media, and something I've noticed is part of it is framing. You notice when Anika asked the question, she ran, she was black community didn't come. That's a bit of a story, but the way that Ms. McKinney reframed it is that this person ran and built a coalition behind her in order to win. That's a story that can sell, possibly, that can gain interest from anybody, no matter where they're from. But the story that a black person ran and black people didn't, support her, it's just, it's interesting if you're black, but it's less kind of interesting for the rest of the world. So sometimes it's just about reframing a story to make it interesting to everybody.